The Galaxy S8 is Samsung's best flagship release yet, but how much has it improved over last year's model? In front of me I have the Galaxy S8 and S7 Edge. Let's compare the two and see which one comes out on top. Starting with the visuals, you really can't go wrong with either device. They both have a striking design when compared to other smartphones on the market, and it's no surprise since Samsung phones have come up on top in terms of looks for the past couple of years. I do believe the S8 looks much better than the S7 though, particularly because it grabs individual features from the S7 Edge and the Note 7 and combined it all together to bring us this new flagship. For example, the S7 Edge has that sexy curved display that looks cool, but it gets old after a couple days of use due to the edges being so excessive and not allowing my fingers or palm to rest on the sides without accidentally interacting with the screen. This time around, Samsung heard our cries and made sure that this new phone had a curved display, but not to the point where it's uncomfortable to hold. Not only that, but the glass back panel is also curved, and this all-around curvage makes the phone look like one solid glass pebble. Absolutely gorgeous. I do find both devices to be a fingerprint magnet and a bit slippery in the hand with all that glass, so I always pick up a skin from D-Brand to solve this issue. My favorites are the stone and marble finish, and they have a bunch more to choose from for many other devices. And I know we talk about D-Brand a lot, but they're a huge support to the channel. We truly do love and use these skins on every one of our devices. Just keeping it 100 with you guys. I'll drop a link down below. Anyways, taking a look at the displays, from first glance you may think the S7 Edge has a bigger screen since it's wider, but don't get fooled, the S8 is a bit larger at 5.8 inches. Samsung did this by increasing the screen vertically and not horizontally, making it a significant advantage when using the phone with one hand and a better screen to body ratio. They also got rid of the physical buttons on the front, the Samsung logo at the top, and the bezels are now incredibly minuscule. Both phones still have a Super AMOLED Quad HD display, but the S8 has a bit more pixels and a better pixel density. I also noticed the panel to be much brighter and more accurate, but that's not to say that this is substantially better than the S7. This older device still has a great display that is still better than most other smartphones. It has great viewing angles, very sharp and saturated when using adaptive display in the settings, and the colors are deep and natural. What I'm trying to say is yes, the Infinity display is better than the S7's panel overall, but the S7 Edge still stands as having one of the best screens on the smartphone market. Plus, that tall panel on the S8 brings an aspect ratio of 18.5 by 9, so not all apps and videos will be compatible with these new dimensions. In result, you'll get black bars on the sides for certain third-party apps, and you could fix it within the settings, but it doesn't always get it right. I guess that's a plus for the S7 Edge since it's still rocking the traditional 16 by 9 ratio, and it's definitely not a huge deal, but something to consider when comparing both phones. And with such a hidden panel on the S8, the fingerprint sensor couldn't be placed on the front, so instead it went on the back, but in a very controversial spot, right next to the camera. I would have preferred it to be right underneath the lens like most other devices. Still, I was able to use it just fine, but it definitely takes some time to get used to. Luckily, if you want to use an alternative method, you can now use the iris scanner or facial recognition to unlock the phone, which the S7 Edge does not provide. The S7 Edge just has that fingerprint sensor on the front, which is great, but it's not as fast as I like it to be, and that goes for the S8 as well. They both recognize my fingers well, but they unlock as quickly as the Nexus 6P, which is almost a 2-year-old device, just to put that in perspective. Within the software, they're both running Samsung Grace UX on Android 7.0. There's no difference between the overall UI. It's cleaner, lighter, and feels closer to stock Android from previous TouchWiz updates. It really comes down to features, and the S8 comes with way more. One of the best exclusive features in my opinion is the virtual navigation keys. It not only allows the phone to have such a tall display, but also lets you change the recent home back order to the more traditional back home recent sequence. Plus, you can change the background and has a pressure sensitive area to make it feel like a physical key. You also get a theme store to change the overall look, snap window, infinity wallpapers which look amazing, some new panels and edge screens such as Smart Select to capture a certain part of the screen with a shape or make a GIF animation, Bluetooth 5.0 for sweet features like playing audio through 2 Bluetooth speakers at once, have a longer range of connectivity, and more. And Bixby. I won't get into Bixby too much as it would drag on the video for far too long, but if you want to know our thoughts about the big feature, just click that eye in the right corner. Anyways, those are some of the more major features that the S8 has and the S7 Edge doesn't. So unless you're in dire need to change the order of your nav bar, really want those extra Bluetooth features, or need an alternate source to Google Now, I think you'll find the software on either device to be satisfactory. As for the performance, the S8 here in the US is rocking a newer version of Qualcomm's chipset, the Snapdragon 835, and it makes the phone noticeably faster than the S7 Edge. Everything loads quickly, feels smooth, and seems to be as quick as the Google Pixel. The S7 Edge, on the other hand, is still a solid performer. The only time it really stutters is when I go to the home screen and try scrolling through the briefing panel, but other than that, it's not really that bad. I'd say the only thing holding back these phones from being a bit quicker besides all these pixels is TouchWiz. It definitely has a much heavier toll with all those bells and whistles when compared to stock Android. On the whole, the S7 performs well, but the S8 does it better. The Galaxy S8 and S7 Edge have very similar rear cameras. They both have a 12 megapixel sensor, an aperture size of f1.7, OIS, and capable of recording 4K resolution. The only minuscule changes within the S8 shooter is that it has an updated sensor, improved image processing for better picture quality, and some software enhancements within the viewfinder, such as the ability to digitally zoom with one hand. In both cameras, photos look great in both bright and low light situations, detail, contrast, and color accuracy. Pictures on the S8 have a smoother tone, making it look a bit more natural, but other than that, there's really not that much of a difference in camera quality. I do, however, enjoy the improvements on the front-facing camera found on the S8. It now captures 8 megapixel photos with an f1.7 aperture lens, and also has autofocus capabilities, which the S7 does not. For the most part, pictures do benefit from having the higher megapixel count, and it does have solid results in most lighting situations. It does tend to lose its sharpness when shooting in the dark, but still has the decent effort to show you what's in the area. In the end, if you're wondering which has the better camera, technically the S8, but its benefits are extremely minor. Switching to the battery, you'll be surprised to hear that the S8's predecessor has a bigger battery capacity at 3600 mAh. However, thanks to that newer processor, the S8 brought in better results. It easily lasted an entire day, 4 to 5 hours of screen on time to be exact. I usually have Bluetooth, GPS, and always on display enabled at all times, as well as the brightness turned almost to the max. The S7 Edge also got me around 4 hours, but David over at Android Police said he got 5 to 6 hours with the S8 Plus. Maybe that model is meant to replace the S7 Edge, as it has 3500 mAh. So there's definitely been an improvement in battery life with this new flagship. I'd say stick with the S8 Plus if you want the best battery results. Not to mention that it also has USB Type-C, which the S7 does not come with, and both devices support Quick Charge 2.0 and wireless charging. Other things to know is that both devices are IP68 certified, meaning they can both handle large amounts of water, NFC, a headphone jack, heart rate monitors, expandable storage, support all 4 major US carriers, and the S8 has Gorilla Glass 5 all around, while the S7 has Gorilla Glass 4. The big question though is, how much do these flagships cost? Well, for starters, the Galaxy S8 retails for $750 here in the US, which is one of the more expensive smartphones you could buy, and the S8 Plus costs $100 extra. The S7 Edge Unlocked, on the other hand, costs $670, or $100 less if you go for the regular Galaxy S7, which has a smaller display and battery capacity. Obviously not a huge difference in pricing. Here are my final thoughts. If you don't have either of these devices and are trying to get a Samsung, I recommend just going for the Galaxy S8. For an extra $80, you're getting a better design, performance, battery results, camera, USB Type-C, and additional software features. Now, if you already own the Galaxy S7 Edge or even the regular Galaxy S7, I recommend that you stick with that device for now. In the real world, most of the new specs are not going to really impress you that much, especially if you're going to pay that much cash once again. Wait until the OnePlus 5, Note 8, or Pixel 2 comes out because they're not that far off, and then make your choice from there. Make sure to get subscribed, as we'll cover all these devices when they get released, and that's it for this comparison of the Samsung Galaxy S8 and Galaxy S7 Edge. Let me know in the comments if you think the S8 is worth the upgrade. Check out AndroidPolice.com for your latest and greatest news on Android, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.